My professional title is Reverend Jan Rothenburger, Community Outreach Pastor, Church at the Mission, and then I'm also 2 days a week at Evergreen Center for Street Youth, Young Street Mission.
If you could name a crisis that you think really highlights the issues on the street, what would that be?
Poverty. Poverty is huge. Affordable housing is a huge issue. Like just being able to rent an apartment for a decent price, and that's not going to take up your whole ODSP or welfare check. Or if you don't have a lot of education and you're working at Tim Hortons, how can you afford like a $1,000 apartment? You can't. And so poverty is a huge issue. It keeps women in abusive relationships because they will live with men that abuse them because they can't afford to live on their own. They work on the streets sometimes because they need to make that extra money. They do crime. Like I go to the women's prisons, and most of the women in there are from backgrounds of poverty. You know, they were drug dealers because they were single mothers. You know, they import drugs because they want their kids to have what other kids have. So I would say poverty is a huge issue.
So what kinds of services does Evergreen offer?
Part drop and part is recreational. We have art program upstairs, and they actually have on Wednesdays dialogue of sex and life. So we actually have nurses that come, and kids can go up and they talk about sex and life, and it's very open. They can talk about anything. So it's like there's a really open concept about that kind of stuff here. Downstairs there's a full health center, nurses, doctors, dentists. They're all volunteers. Like 2 nurses are on staff, and then the doctors are all volunteers. Dental hygienists, volunteers, chiropractors. It's amazing. Then we have a resource center down there with employment, counselors, computer room. We have different job program trainings, so youth can do like training, job training for like 20 weeks, get paid for it, and to help give them the skills to move into a job. Like there's just all kinds of stuff, housing worker, employment counseling, workshops. So there's actually a lot. It's really grown. Art programs, foot care, yeah.
So there isn't any hesitance, you think, on the part of people coming to a Christian organization if they feel that they might be at odds with, say, biblical perspective?
I think it depends on whose biblical perspective, because even at the mission, as a Christian mission, all of the staff are from all different denominations. So you have right from liberal all the way to fundamental. So it's a wide spectrum. Anybody is invited to come, and I mean, I don't personally judge anybody. If somebody else does, I'm sorry for them. They lose out on meeting a cool person, right? A lot of the women in prison are gay. I've had a number of them say to me, "Oh, I can't be a Christian because I'm gay." And I always say, that has nothing to do with being a Christian. You know, Christian is about you and your relationship with God. It has nothing to do with it. So it just depends on the perspective of the person. I can't speak for anybody else, only for myself.